Hello, and welcome back to Patrick's Green Tea Podcast. I hope you've all been doing well. Since it's been a while since the last episode, I wanted to give a little life update. I've been working for a big radio station conglomerate in Connecticut as a videographer, which has been pretty fun. I mainly cover events like parades and food drives, but most recently I've been allowed to cover the acoustic sessions that semi-famous musical artists do in the area. I've also been working in television documentaries recently, only as a production assistant though. I have to drive gear and people around, shuttle crew to and from the airport, and help out with miscellaneous tasks. To try to move my sound career forward, I've been taking online classes from the audio company Shure. They give out certifications for wireless radio stuff and for more advanced things like networking. As you can probably tell, I've been pretty busy. I haven't felt the inclination to record many episodes in the past few months, since there are so many on the backlog already. When I can, I do want to continue releasing episodes in order, as annoying as that might be to some people. With Peach Festival coming up, I'm going to release a mega episode I recorded at the 2021 Peach Fest. That so far will be the only non-chronological release coming up. Feel free to email me your spin on the Patrick's Green Tea theme song, and you'll have a chance to be featured in a future podcast episode. The show's email address is patricksgreentea@gmail.com. That's it, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. It's an occasion today. It's been 3 years to the day since the first episode of this podcast was recorded. And that's really exciting for me. You know, it was cool that, the podcast has been out for a year, but the whole 3-year thing really puts into perspective how much time has been put into this and how much time that this podcast has treaded in its, existence. So a lot's happened. Back then, I was a completely different person with a different sort of access to weed. So I didn't really smoke it that often, and when I did, it was this huge event, like the first episode was with Nick. Now I'm able to just use a dab pen that I know is safe and do it, in my bedroom or outside. It's a versatile thing without having to worry about, smell. It's huge. So I'm very excited about today. I think I'm going to celebrate with another round of dab pen hits at night, when I can, sort of be more cerebral and not really active or thinking too hard. Although, I don't know, Minecraft does make me think in terms of trying to visualize things in my head in 3 dimensions. It's really difficult, especially when all you have to work with are blocks. But I love it, because then when you put enough time into figuring it out, it really comes out cool. And speaking of that, I'm gearing up to release this world. I don't know, because there's a lot of stuff that are just basically text-based Patrick's Green Tea episodes scattered around the world, and I don't know if it's going to be suitable for children or, I don't know how to filter it. I mean, I don't know if text is something that would be filterable, but so the only reason why I have that concern is because there's a place called Planet Minecraft that seems to be a big world sharing, save sharing platform. I don't know. I'll have to look into it, because it would be cool to just have random people come on and see what I've built. The problem for me is right now I think I want to finish some of the stuff, at least the stuff I'm working on right now, before I move on to any new projects, which is what I've just been doing. I want to finish what's already there to make it look nice, and I think release that and then go from there, and not think too hard about it. I ideally I'd have a log of the archived older save versions, but I don't know if Planet Minecraft allows that, and if not, I can just link to my website or something, but I don't know if that's self-promotion. So it's tricky. Planet Minecraft is definitely throwing a wrench into the mix, not really in a bad way, just it's another challenge. And I guess an obstacle to actually releasing the thing, so maybe I'll just upload it to the website and worry about Planet Minecraft after. That sounds like a plan. I didn't feel super high today. It's been like half an hour since I did my 2 inhales, 4 seconds each. That's a t-shirt, you know. I haven't had many t-shirt worthy ideas, but I think that would be good. I'm definitely going to turn around. I've walked quite a ways into this thing. So I didn't feel super high, but I've been smoking a little more regularly now, every other day between the last episode and this episode, just so I can like get all of my sessions in without having to, because I go on a 1 day on, 2 day off schedule, and there are certain times when I would be like 3 days off. If there's one event that I want for sure to smoke at. But anyway, that's my life. That's how I pretty much like structure my weed use. I'm very like controlled about it because, you know, there was definitely a long time when I didn't really do it. Either when the what's it called? When the supply was short and every smoke was an adventure, or even when I bought weed and I just had it. I just used it every day at one point, which is not good. Not really sustainable or like good for your mental health, having to escape constantly into weed. I think personal sober time is as valuable on its own as, high time. So I tried to be able to have both. I don't know when I started this new regimen. I think it was the end of 2019. Yeah, for sure, it was the end of 2019. So it's been, over a year. I feel much better with my relationship to weed now. My supply has lasted super long. Like I had a dab pen cartridge that was my sole cartridge, and it was running kind of low, so I bought 2 new ones at the same time just to make it more convenient. And they're like running out. I would say they're probably like 20% capacity each. The sativa might be a little less because I really enjoyed the sativa one, but and the indica one, which was the first one, hasn't even run out yet. There's like, I don't know, 3 more uses left, maybe less. It's quite not a lot, but I bought those like almost a year ago. No, I mean like the other ones I bought probably closer to the winter. The beginning of this winter, but I don't know. Still a long ass time, several months. So I enjoy that I'm able. The rationing has really helped with that alone, but also because of that, I don't have to waste as much money. Not that it's a waste, but it's still money going down the drain. And before I go on any other tangents, I wanted to actually address the first episode of this podcast and look back on a little retrospective. I don't think I ever noticed the yearly. I don't think I noticed last year when the anniversary was. I don't think the podcast might not have been released by then. Actually, now I think about it, I think it was. I just didn't notice. Who knows? Maybe I said something. Anyway, or the 1 year. Huh. I definitely wasn't podcasting by that time. At least releasing it. Anyway, first episode was pretty wild. I think it was a fitting start to this whole thing, because even more than wanting to document just like the effects of weed, just my life because of it and the music around it is so wacky, and I wanted to record some of the stuff that happened. I mean, ironically, the biggest thing that probably happened was going to Colorado, and I didn't record much of that. That's okay. I think that was needed for me. And I'll talk about it in retrospect in little stories. But And also on other podcasts, like when Dan was talking to me about, wanting to travel around. He didn't know I went to Colorado. So it was nice to be able to get asked questions about it and like revisit it in my mind. Speaking of that, Jordan was not on the podcast recently, as you guys can tell. Actually, I don't know. I think I'm going to release the guest episodes at a different schedule, not like chronological order, just like whenever they come out. Jordan and Dan and I just played for 4 hours straight, and it was really intense. Something else, and we definitely, I don't know. I think time just sort of escaped us. I would have liked to do a recording, but we didn't really seem like to be in the mood to set things up. Because there's a lot of setup required with podcasts, and Dan usually takes the time when he's about to do one to like set everything up beforehand. But we were trying to professionally record this jam, or at least semi-professionally. But instead we just used the GoPro audio, which sounds good, but it's not like, if we're actually going to release any of it, which we might not, probably not, based on what Dan was saying. I would like to have more audio options. Anyway, regardless of that, I did enjoy recording it, and I'm going to release some of it myself, because I think, it's fine that Dan doesn't want to, he said the most he would do is sample it. But I definitely think some of the jams on there deserve a home on YouTube, because they were really good. I never felt that good about playing the saxophone, which I did on this, and also the drums a little bit, but I don't know if I'm going to release that. And the bass a little bit, which was pretty good. Either way, we'll get more guests on soon. I still haven't reached out to the Vermont musician. I think he's in Vermont, and maybe New York. I should, though, because it's been a few months. I've been watching his stuff. It's really good. He has probably a similar following to us. This podcast, maybe a little bigger, but definitely not over 50 people per episode, which that's still exponentially better than this. The rate of this podcast is 6 people an episode. But he's not like some mega titan on the podcast in the podcast world, so that makes me feel better to interview him and be able to maintain contact with him, because we're on a similar level. I don't know if I could ever interview a big podcaster. I'd love to be on a big podcasters or YouTubers in their sphere, but probably won't happen. Why did I say that? It might happen. So what I meant to say is that, because I was distracted, is that I would enjoy it, and I would love to be first of all, I'd love the show to get a bigger platform. So there's that aspect. Also, I think the bigger podcasters and YouTubers and what Twitch streamers and whatever else, they have a big audience for a reason, because they're really good at asking questions and hosting people. So that would be a pleasure to be a part of. I'm in a lot of snow right now. So when Nick left, I think I recorded the podcast for the first time after I met Nick, and we smoked around. We took a walk through Central Park, and when we're about to part each other or separate, we got these hot dogs with everything on it. I don't remember if I mentioned in the episode. It's been so long since I even looked at that episode. I got he got two hot dogs for himself because he was hungry. But then when I wasn't getting anything, he sort of I don't know, maybe I don't remember if I felt hungry after and just he could tell or what happened, but he offered me one of his hot dogs, so I took it. I think he even offered to buy me one, and I just said no because I wasn't hungry. I don't remember complaining or anything, but regardless, there's a bunch of noise happening here. Sounds like someone's blowing their leaves or something. But anyway, Hot dog was really good. It was my first time having sauerkraut, and I think there was mustard on it and probably relish. I don't know, maybe not, but it was damn good. There's a lot of flavors, and I was like high, so I didn't really. I don't know. I definitely felt it more intensely than usual. Usually, that like I've been high with people and ate weird food and not had a good time with. This one was just a lot of like acidy type sour flavor, but it was good in the end. It was like your brain was processing the flavor, but the final note of it was like really pleasant. So that added to the experience, I think. And you know, that reminds me of another time a guy outside the Brooklyn Bowl got high with me, and that's the first time I got high in a very long time. And we had these like not tacos, I think. Either tacos or nachos. No, definitely not nachos. Nachos were like the chips. There were these tacos that had a lot of like veggies and stuff on them that I don't like lettuce and tomato. And I think it was like shredded lettuce, so it was all over the place. I couldn't just take it off. So it was not a good experience. The it was like the meat part was good. It was seasoned well, and there was some sauce on it, but I don't know. Anyway, I had the hot dog. It was good. I'm not even going to think about like a conclusion to that one. We'll just leave it as it is. Jordan listens to the podcast, which makes me happy. And I know he does because he was pointing out like how he likes the awkward stops and starts of just like, what was I just talking about? What was I thinking about? Stuff like that. He said it adds to the whole, podcast. For me, it's frustrating, but I'm glad that like listening to it, at least by one account, is like it's all good. The sun's going down. Looks pretty. How are you guys doing? Go to Instagram, Patrick's Green Tea Podcast. Type up some comments. That's probably the most direct way I'll see them. I've said email is a good way, but for some reason my emails have just gotten lost and forgotten about. Not lost, just forgotten about. And there were some emails that one person sent in offering like editing services. That was from like 3 months ago that I just didn't see. So I'm going to try to get that sorted out, but as of right now, the comments are probably the best way to talk to me, and I'll definitely get right back to you because I get the notification. Anyway, I don't think there's anything more pressing that I want to talk about with the first episode. I think I probably said the story pretty fully, maybe not in order, but it's all there in the first episode. It's crazy to think that was 2 years ago. Like it feels like a long time ago, to be completely honest. So much just happened. Yeah, Nick was a good guy. That was the one and only time I ever like saw him in person, because he moved to Ohio to pursue his PhD in math at Ohio State. What a guy. Talking to him was great. I had a really good time. We felt so relaxed with each other, and he felt a lot younger than he was at the time. Even though he was like a veteran and like in a submarine for 6 months at a time, he still had that jovial sort of youth about him, and he was smoking weed and having a good time, which I'm happy for him. But I guess the main point was that it was like there was definitely a bond there. There wasn't like a generational gap at all. It was only a few years, but for some reason I felt like he would be older. He would seem older. I think he was 23 or 26. I don't know. I don't really know anyone in their 20s beyond like the people I grew up with, which is a shame. I mean, I kind of do from school and doing film stuff, but we don't talk much. Anyways, it's been a lot of that this podcast. The anyways. The ground is awful to walk on. I know you can hear like slushing and stuff going on. It's like partially frozen, mostly just slush, like a hard slush. And there's again a layer of leaves and stuff underneath because the water's melting everything on the underside. So randomly there's like potholes in the ice. So it's not too bad right here, but it was super muddy and just there's no solid ground at all closer to where my car is. So that sucks. There's like a maybe I'll take a picture of it. It's hard to explain. It's got a concrete block with a bunch of moss on it, and these 4 ribbons that are pink on it. Makes me want to play Minecraft. The symmetry and the blockiness. Last podcast, I forgot to make an Instagram post the day of the first anniversary of the podcast. I mean, I always feel weird about doing that. Not is this against the rules or anything. It just like feels like I don't know if faux pas is an appropriate word, but like that, like an awkward like social spill, an unwritten rule. That pothole just definitely opened up under my feet. Wasn't too deep though, which is good. Now I generally don't know what I was talking about. As always, it was definitely about the anniversary Instagram post. So I want to do a post for today because I feel a lot more of an affinity with today's milestone than the last one. Yeah, I don't know. The fact that like the 3-year number is just like crazy to me. And I know it's going to keep building and building now that I'm noticing and keeping track of it, but maybe now that I keep track of it, it won't be as crazy because it'll just be a big number, but still it'll hit the 10-year mark, it'll hit a 5-year mark. You know, there's some other milestones they'll keep growing, like Joe Rogan's thing. Although his grew a lot more than this podcast in a shorter amount of time, though he's like way richer than me. So I shouldn't compare myself to him. But I can't help but doing it because I know his podcast really well. I've listened to it a bunch. The memes make sense to me, if you know what I mean. Oh man, it's really pretty stretch of trail. There was an old man here when I was listening to music. He was just looking at the water. Yeah, this trail goes down. I remember trying to get down here and it was just not. It didn't seem like a real trail. It's so steep. It seemed like something that people walked on, you know. But because definitely the ground is collapsed here. It's just like funnels. But my mom was trying to bring the bikes down there when we came to ride our bikes, and I think I see footsteps down there, but I don't know. I'm definitely not going to do it now, not sober. But it's just we definitely like turned back when we got halfway down the hill. Last time I was here I was with my girlfriend and my sister. My mom might have been there to take like pictures and stuff. I don't remember. I don't know. I feel like she was there at one point, and then my sister and my mom and my girlfriend and I just kept going or went a separate time. That was fun. It was last summer. I'm getting like a weird nostalgic, like sad feeling looking back. I don't know why. Let's focus on the good stuff that's happened because there's so much and I tend to overlook it. So 2018, we'll go with like the podcast lifetime. It was when I first really went to Dead & Company shows that I wasn't like brought to. I saw them at Saratoga and I saw them at Hartford. I think that was it. I didn't really drive around much. I contemplated it, and then I regretted not doing it. But really, I was just like taking baby steps. It was all really crazy for me. It was the first time I really traveled around like that. Then they came back. That was the year after they went to Madison Square Garden. But the year that they didn't do that, I went to a lot of shows in New York City. There were so many really amazing shows. Just like someone tried to recreate the Wall of Sound in the Capitol Theater in Portchester. They did like I don't know if it was the original segment of it. Obviously, like you can only fit so much in that building, but it was like a giant speaker array that was arced towards the audience, so like it spread, and it sounded really good. They played Eyes of the World. They played I don't know, that was the one that really stuck out to me. I think I was high during that somehow. Maybe not though, I don't know. Either way, that Eyes definitely like hit me the hardest, and I'm really thankful for it. Just it sounded so like buzzy, not buzzy like an electronic buzzing, just like fuzzy, I guess is more what I meant. What I meant, it was very fuzzy and very full and rich sound. It was so good. It was just surreal, that moment, just the snapshot of I think it was the rhythm guitarist soloing. I remember the rhythm guitarist the most because he was just like on the beat. I think I took a video of it. Maybe I'll post it as a supplement to this episode. Yeah, I forgot it's been so long since I really like did a supplement that came out of the episode that wasn't just a picture I took while the episode, or before and after the episode. I think the idea was to post stuff that I talked about. Maybe I'll do that in the description, but I don't know. That hasn't really happened much, but it's happening now. This this trail, I don't want to give away my location, but I feel like it's such a long trail that, you know, I could be anywhere along it. Although I don't like narrowing things down. This trail used to be like a train track, and it was like a long ass train track that they just took off in the earth, and they repurposed it for a trail for like horses and stuff, and pedestrian type things too. No motorized traffic, which is nice. There's no like treads anywhere, and it feels good to walk on. It's like a really, really, really tall hill thing that has a steep, two steep sides to it that just go down to like a lower ground. I think they just poured a bunch of dirt in the shape of the trail they wanted. It's kind of wacky. But because of that, you can easily see in all directions. You got really, as Obi-Wan said, I have the high ground. Speaking of wanting to look around, and I kept like dancing around this inadvertently. I have a very deep-seated fear of bears. I've probably mentioned on the show, and it sucks that I have to walk around and like be worried about them. So I looked up how often that black bears actually attack people, and it's like 1 in a million. I think the statistic, I'd have to like verify this, but in North America at least, says that 1 person gets attacked by a black bear per year in North America, which I think is pretty wild. That made me feel really a lot better. I thought they happened like just below often, where they just happened. Like shark attacks are more common than bear attacks, if that's the case. And you know, I have a fear of the ocean, but I'm more scared of being outside, because at least I have like a few feet of distance before I can jump up on the sand. There's usually people around. There's lifeguards looking out for everyone. I want to try white water rafting. There's a ride at this amusement park in my state where it's I think it's a common ride where people can white water raft in like a simulated arena. That's cool. Someone has a staircase in the stone pathway that leads to the trail. That's cool. I would totally do that. I'd love to live near a trail. But anyway, this ride is really fun. You don't get too wet. I feel like it's kind of like invasive to get wet when you have like your phone and stuff around, and some people don't buy lockers for the trip. They just like bring whatever they can carry. So maybe I think there's like lockers that you can like, for the ride, you can put your stuff in. But I don't know. I like the idea of waterproof cases. My family used them when we went to Hawaii. Really nice. We got some nice turtle videos that I should also put in a supplement, if for no another reason than to find it and know where it is and just have like a duplicate, because that was a super cool experience. I hope we didn't delete it. Now I have so much space, it's hard to really like remember what it was like to have, I don't know, a 32 or what's the other size, a 16 gigabyte phone. I don't think it was that long ago. It's probably just 32. I think I have 128 now, which is just, you know, I have plenty of wiggle room now. I think I the only thing that's taking up a lot of room is my photos, but I like hoard them. I've never really needed to delete them. I don't know how I would. I can't imagine just like going through all that. I have like thousands of photos. Google Photos is like screwy now too, because they got rid of the unlimited storage for regular people for free. You have to pay for that now, which makes sense. And I figured that was a very uncommon and strange policy for them to have. And you know, it wouldn't. It's so much work on their end, because unlimited, they're just like an infinite cap on what people can upload. So they need to just constantly be spreading and increasing the space they have. Look at the time on this thing. I've sobered up. For some reason, those hits from the dab cartridge like didn't last. They weren't very like smoky. Yeah, it's been 34 minutes on my end. And let's check the time while we're checking things. Not the time, but yeah, it's definitely been over an hour. So that's good. I mean, it's nice to be sober. Definitely gonna continue this later. I get different things from different activities. Like when I walk outside, I can make the podcast, which is great. But I really enjoy doing stuff on the computer when it's like dark and I'm just sitting down and vibing out. Video games are fun. Again, like send in your suggestions for any video games I should play high. I don't know if I like watching movies high, because it's such like a long commitment. It takes up the entirety of the high. It'd have to be a really good movie to be worth it, in my opinion. But video games for sure. So far, I like Skyrim and Minecraft, but I've leaned way into Minecraft recently. I like that it's just so open-ended. Whereas Skyrim is like there's a lot of creativity you can like put into it with roleplay, but there's nothing to show for it. The game is like a static entity. The only thing that's not static is like the economy, I guess, and like what quests are triggered and which people are dead and stuff like that. But it's like along rails pretty much. Whereas Minecraft is just like procedurally generated massive world that you can do whatever with all these different resources, and they keep adding more blocks and things. After that Nether update, I was sold on going back to Minecraft, even for, despite all the annoyances of upgrading and things and trying to get new mods. It's just like it was totally worth it. And also, it wasn't that aggravating. It was very fine, Optifine, you could say. It's been good. There's a helicopter being chased by the government, but it's been good. I think I'm gonna wrap up, or start to wrap up, and get it while the getting's good. This slush sucks. I'm at the sucky part again. It's just a lot of holes and a lot of water. Oh, I know why. It's because we're no longer in like a weird hill part. But anyways, what are some goals? By next March, I would definitely like to move out. I don't know if this is going to happen, but in a legal state, either through the state legalizing or me moving to a already legal state. And like, I'm it's not going to like hinder me. Like, it's not hindering me now, the current state of things, but I would much rather like take that burden off myself and be much more open about things. I was distracted. Oh yeah, I'd love to live in a legal state, and I think I'll get there eventually. Like I said, either through the state's laws changing or me becoming more available. I guess becoming more available to choose better states. Right now, I'm not like stuck in the Northeast. I could go wherever I wanted. Realistically, I have the luxury to do that. Considering that a lot of my friends have, at least one of my friends has successfully done it by subletting. And I know a bunch of people in my industry do all the time, move to LA. There was one guy who works in New York, an animator, who was saying that he didn't understand why people would move to LA or like, insert faraway state here. Because he had all of these friends and connections and stuff in New York and around New York that he would lose and like have to restart with if he were to move somewhere else. So I'm kind of scared about that, but the strategy that was told to me by a professor was that, well, first of all, he didn't think that there was anything film related in a place like Denver, but he said to maintain or build a reputation in New York first, since I'm already here, and then move once the reputation is built. But that's such a vague like criteria that I don't know when I would meet it, or if I would always like make the excuse that I'm still trying to get somewhere. Like, so like at a certain point, when you stay here for a long enough time, then you're more stuck here because the more people that you start knowing, not less. So I don't know. I should talk to more people who actually like moved out and had a good experience. Moved out west. Because I would love my dream state. My girlfriend asked me what my like ideal state to live in is, and I said either like Colorado or Oregon, maybe Washington. I don't really know enough about either of them, but I know for sure Colorado's amazing, and I really stand by their approach to certain laws. They're a very progressive state in like the right ways. Maybe Seattle might be a little too progressive in the wrong ways, but you never really hear anything bad coming out of Colorado, except for like the rattlesnakes. So that's a thing to consider. I'm worried about black bears. I have to worry about like spiders and stuff out there. I literally was in like I camped in the hills, the mountains, and then like a huntsman spider got caught in my car. So I was like going to open my trunk and I saw it skirting around in there. Not in the trunk, but like on it, I think. But I don't know what I did to get rid of it. I think I just like closed the trunk, let it like do its thing, and drove away. Yeah. Huntsmen are no joke. Definitely not. What's next for Patrick in terms of right now? I feel like going to a cafe or something. Or, I don't know. Somewhere I can like sit down and just like go through make that Instagram post. I don't really have high hopes for getting anything substantial done today. Hopefully I can, but just realistically, based on how yesterday went, knowing I have stuff already scheduled for in the evening, no bueno. But either way, we made a podcast episode. We did the thing. We're going to do some more of the thing. It was good. Thank you for 3 years. Even though the podcast has only been around and you've only known about it for maximum a year, you've you know, some of you for sure have sorted through all of it and read through, listened through a bunch of the material. So now we have 3 years worth of episodes. And yeah, I don't know. It's exciting. I'm working on stuff now. Right, the main thing I'm doing right now is Minecraft, like making the world ready to be shared, and that's like fixing my spreadsheets up so people can navigate. I made a Java code to convert the X, Z, Y coordinates in that I've been keeping track of, that my waypoints mod keeps track of, into X, Y, Z coordinates. But more importantly, to a command that you can just copy and paste into Minecraft. And it was pretty challenging to make that code, to be honest. It took like 2.5 hours, because I don't remember anything from class just off the top of my head, but I took really, really good notes. I don't know why I'm like stuttering today in the notes. But I did take good notes. I did a lot of highlighting as usual, but it means a completely different thing now than it did then. But that's okay. Yeah, the notes were helpful. Anyway, enough talk about the notes. The newts. I liked coding, and I think it's super useful. And now that I sort of know how to read files, there was like a whole challenge of like not just outputting numbers, just like how to input a text file and output a text file. I did a lot of stuff wrong, and I had to like trial and error a bunch. And the IDE, which is what you use to actually make the code and run it, was not very user friendly at all. It was kind of confusing. I mean, like it's more user friendly than the alternatives, but it definitely wasn't accessible to someone who barely knows how to use it. I had to look up a lot of stuff, but it tells you what like the bugs that they find in each line and things, and it's like it's helpful. You just have to like learn what each of the error codes mean. But I figured it out. It's probably a clunky code that, there's a lot of extra lines of things that were hidden so they wouldn't be run, but they're like debugging code to output certain variable values. But in the future code, I would probably just like get rid of those. Not really necessary. I just didn't want to type them up again and think about it. Anyways, I haven't really worked. The whole point of the Minecraft thing is that I've been working a lot on it, so I haven't been working on anything else really. And I'll get there. But definitely, like, I want to for sure reach out to the guests before worrying about getting more. Because there's 1.5 that I could have on the show for sure. But thank you for a good walk, even though I was doing the walking. Thank you for accompanying me on this one-way audio journey. This like live stream from a different time, if you know what I mean. That you can pause and rewind and go forward. What is live, Anything you see that's live streamed is actually delayed, so it's not really live. It's just a fancy term at that point. It doesn't mean anything. I'll catch you all on the flip side. And I don't know when the next episode's going to be. It might be a little bit. That's okay. It's getting warmer outside, so I do enjoy walking around. Maybe it won't be too long. Catch you all later. Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can find me at Patrick's Green Tea on Patreon, Discord, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, and Bandcamp, Patrick's Green Tea Podcast on Instagram, and Patrick Green Tea without an S on Twitter. If you donate at least $5 a month on Patreon, you'll get exclusive access to the Drunk Patrick Chronicles. The show is available wherever you get your podcasts. Supplemental materials like photos and text are available on our website, patricksgreentea.com. You can join our subreddit at r/patricksgreentea. You can make comments on YouTube and on the website, and you can contact me directly at patricksgreentea@gmail.com. Don't forget to leave a review of the show on your favorite podcasting platform. It really helps us out. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.